Gotham, a crazy podcast about DC, with your hosts E-Rock and PD. When we speak up, get your geeks up, cause you know you about to get geeked up. So sit back, relax, and get comfy. Lose your mind like Solomon Grundy, and listen to a show that won't be forgotten, coming straight out of Gotham.
And hello, everybody out in the DC universe. Welcome to episode 87 of Straight Outta Gotham. We are a fandom pop culture podcast and a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network hosted by BatmanOnFilm.com. Make sure you check out all the other great shows on the network by heading on over to BOF, clicking the drop down, and selecting whichever one you're in the mood for, because there's a ton of them. I am your co-host from the other side of the Hudson River. I'm Peter R. Vera, and today we're recording on August 17th, 2022. And as always, I have a great show for you today. But before we get into the good stuff, I'd like to remind you, all our faithful listeners, if you take the time to rate and review the show on Apple, iTunes, and podcasts, and we read your review on air, we will send you a monthly prize pack giveaway. So please enter our contest. We do it every month, and it's always a fun little gift bag of, just fanboy essentials. Now, let me introduce you to my partner in crime, the man who won the 1984 Suffolk County Shoe Fly Pie Baking and Eating Championships. It's a 2-for-1. Ladies and gentlemen, a Batman on Film junior contributor, Eric Holzman.
You need to get crowd. I need to put crowd noise in here. Hey, what's going on, everyone?
Call-lie.
See, guys?
Eric. It's crazy. And then all the girls are like, oh, and then they're like, oh, speeds are everywhere, and there's just light sticks. All of a sudden, it turns into a fish show.
This isn't Mardi Gras.
It should be.
That's true.
It's like Eric lands on the island. All of a sudden, it's the red carpet's rolled out.
I need a wrestler's introduction.
Yeah.
That's what I need. I need a wrestling or who is the one, that boxer who was like all talk and turned out to be crap? Prince Nassim, was that his name? Do you remember him?
I do not know.
Yeah, he was this boxer who had a big mouth, who was talking, oh, I'm going to beat everyone up. He was a big deal for a minute. And then he wound up not having a good career, but the spectacle was bigger than his actual boxing career. I think it was Prince Nassim. He would come in on this rotating float and
really
come down the aisle on this thing. It was crazy.
It almost sounds like Apollo.
I think. Yeah, it was similar to
was
the
Apollo Creed
entrance.
based on him, or was that after?
No, this was after. This was. I want
to
to say
he
this
stole
was
Apollo's stick.
I want to say this was the late 90s, early 2000s, and he wasn't a heavyweight. He was like a welterweight or a lightweight. I don't remember.
Oh, okay. Well, then
class.
we should get him to fight Hasbulla.
But oh yes, guys, Pete is obsessed with Hasbulla. I don't know if you guys have seen Hasbulla or you know who he is.
He's incredible. He's the greatest thing in the world.
What's his ailment? Does he have?
He has human growth deficiency.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, definitely inspirational. I'll say that. He's a very inspirational little guy. But I don't understand the obsession. You might need to explain that one. I don't understand.
He's incredible. He's 3'2". He's not afraid of everybody. He fights everything in the world. He's just.
And this is
he drives cars. I don't know. He's a phenomenon.
So now Liver King is in the background for you. You know more Liver King. You don't care about him anymore?
I'm still paying attention to Liver King. I'm still following the tenets and everything. I'm still trying to live my best life. There's certain things about the Liver King that I like more than others. There's certain philosophies that kind of like, oh, okay, that's cool. I kind of like. There's Liver King and there's Carnivore MD, and I kind of take the best of both of them and I try to combine it into I don't know, T-Rex Peter, whatever it is, try to take the best and make it one thing. Whatever the hell you want to call that. But yeah, no, Liver King's still up there because he's ridiculous, and I just don't know how he eats that liver raw. That's still impressive to me.
Yeah, Pete likes to. He finds these things and he just kind of lashes onto them, but that's cool. That's cool. I feel like I'm too
old
OCD right now or scatterbrained to do that. I catch on to one thing, it lasts for 5 minutes, and then I move on to something else. That could be why I'm still single too. Actually, it happens to be relationships as well. I get bored really quick. So
Jeez, that's a horrible thing to say.
it's the truth. I'm honest. Hey,
How'd you get bored with women?
at least I'm honest. Being truthful about it.
Okay, all
I
right.
get bored really quick with
I
things.
know you're so fascinating, I guess.
But so, ladies out there, if you're interested, just be warned. You have to be really, really, really special for me
I guess. Okay.
for me.
I mean, when you're the champion of Long Island, I guess you could be the most picky man in the world.
Selective. I am picky. I am.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay.
It's weird though. It's not with everything that I'm picky. So it's very strange.
No. With movies, you'll love Ms. Marvel, but with women, you've got to be, 15 out of 10.
I'm not a 15. And it's not even that. It's just we don't have time to go to break this down.
You brought it up.
I know. We don't.
I'm sitting here talking about Hasbulla, and you're like, "Okay, guys, let me tell you about my love life."
No. I did not say that, but I did bring it up though. It was my fault. I'm sorry. Okay, we'll move on from that. Hasbulla has spoken right now, and
No, you're not Hasbulla.
You are
champion of Long Island. You're not Hasbulla.
You are. You're Hasbulla.
I'm not Hasbulla. I'm just a fan of Hasbulla.
We are going crazy down this rabbit hole of Hasbulla. One thing we're both kind of pissed about, though, right now is we were talking about it for a little bit. I'm only spending a short amount of time on the Yankees. God,
There's nothing to talk about there. First of all,
well, there is, because there has to be a session where we could just air our frustration and then we can move on, right? So,
it's called Twitter.
Yeah, well, they just suck right now. They're going through a really rough period.
Right.
Lots of injuries.
That's an excuse. That shouldn't be a problem.
Well, it is a
with
factor.
With all the injuries they have, they still are better. They still can compete.
You're correct.
You're right. Teams don't want to hear that.
You're right. They should be. They still have enough to win. You're correct.
Yeah.
So, but it does, not having certain guys does impact the way pitchers approach hitters. So, and the approach that the hitters take.
I still think the lineup is fine.
So, yep. Like we said before, though, everyone
there's
kind of
enough
got
names
cold
out there. They're just not doing it. That's the problem.
Yep. They all got cold at the same time, which kind of sucks. But there's still plenty of time. There's still 28 games over 500, I think, something like that.
Remember, like with 2000, I looked this up. They didn't get cold until September 14th. So, I'd rather them get cold on August 14th because they limped into 2000 and then they right the ship in October. But it was very nervous the whole time.
Even the 98 team struggled in August, and then Shane Spencer came up.
Yeah, he should have a lot of home runs. I don't know how much they struggled, to be honest with you. For them, struggling was probably losing for like a week.
Right.
But
right.
That team didn't struggle much until the ALCS against Cleveland.
Yeah.
The Cleveland Indians.
Yes.
And they eventually came back to win that series. So, but
yeah, that was
the 2000 Yankees didn't struggle till September. So you figure if you do it a month early, you get all the kinks out. Things will get back on track next month, hopefully. But also, we'll tie this into Batman because we shouldn't even be talking about this because it's a non-story. Oswaldo Cabrera is rumored, I haven't checked Twitter or anything, being it is 11 o'clock in the morning, to be called up from Scranton Wilkes-Barre. So Oswald is in the Bronx. It's not Peraza, it's Cabrera, but I will take one Oswald for another. I'm very excited. I hope he does well. I wonder where they're going to put him in the infield. Because who knows who makes a lineup anymore. They can put a catcher if they think it's the best thing for the team. They're all idiots. So Oswald's up. I'm excited. Oswaldo is his name. I believe he prefers Oswaldo, but I'm still going to call him Oswald because I'm an asshole. And I'm just going to take it and run with it. And I'm excited. Oswaldo Cabrera is up, so I'm very excited for that. And I'm really hoping that someone on the Yankees graphics department, whoever runs the show there, I don't know anybody.
Incorporates the Penguin
somehow for maybe a walk-up or something. I hope someone gets creative.
Well,
because I hope he plays.
Him. I heard him, and then even Florial. Someone mentioned he might be coming.
Florial, and everyone's saying that Marinaccio is going to come up because it's 3 players. They're putting 3 players on the DL, probably 1 week too late.
Yeah.
And but As Eric likes to say, this is probably Eric's favorite quote. They think they're the smartest people in the room every time. So
Yes, that's one of my favorite quotes. And I often am not that person, so it's an easy one for me to make. So
it's usually about Chris Nolan.
Oh yeah, with him, his movies lately have been that.
Oh God, don't give me that, Eric. Come on.
They have.
Captain Marvel. Ms. Marvel's good.
What does Captain Marvel have to do with Chris Nolan?
Because you praise Captain Marvel. You hate female superheroes, and then you hate Chris Nolan. Sometimes your Rick Shoe thinking is so ass backwards, it can't even be called Rick Shoe.
I don't even know what you just said.
Justin will understand. He'll get it.
He probably will. But for now, let's get to the
news.
Ooh, that was like, news.
Let's get to the news. All right. So we've had, we're recording a little bit past our normal week point that we record. So there's been some news that's kind of overlapped. But it's good that we picked today to record because we recently got the news about one of our favorite topics, which of course is the Ezra Miller Saga.
The saga.
It really has become a saga. Like I'm waiting for the HBO Max feature on the Ezra Miller story. That's what I'm waiting.
I was like, we're going to cancel The Flash, but we're going to do a biopic on Ezra Miller.
Yeah, like I'm waiting for that so we could get the full story of what happened. But there were so many things that came out recently. One was, I don't know if we discussed, I think we did on the last show or one of the last shows about the arrest in Vermont. He got arrested in Vermont for burglary.
Mm-hmm.
I think we talked about it a little bit last. So that was one of the things. And then there was a story that came out that this woman who went to his Airbnb in Iceland.
Yeah.
And she said like he was running a commune and people looked hypnotized. And that was another thing that came out through all this time. And then the woman that he was supposedly grooming, Dakota Iron Eyes, she kind of she did a little piece with Insider, and which is weird. It's
all over the place.
Businesses, right? And she was saying how she totally refuted her parents' claims that he wasn't grooming her, that he was helpful, he really cares about people, and that there was this thing that they made her take LSD or whatever. And she said, no, she took a small dose and that there were bruises on her arms and they were she said it could even been due to her parents pulling her away. All this weird stuff was coming out.
Also, he did reshoots for The Flash while the cops were like looking for him.
Yeah.
And while he was in hiding.
Yes. And then the weird thing, one of the weird things about her story was they asked her about the bulletproof vest and stuff. And she said it was like a fashion statement he was making. That's a little bit much. I'm not sure I believe that as one of the reasons why he was wearing it. But clearly Ezra as we know, has had issues.
What if this is honestly just, what if all this is just not real? What if this is just a PR stunt? What if all this is calculated? You know, because like it's just some of this stuff is so far out there that it's like, how could one person like literally just go on like this rampage, right? Like, and then everything all comes out. Like honestly, like everything all comes out at once. It's just one story after another that keeps the Flash in the headlines. All anyone's talking about is this movie. You know, the hype for this movie has probably grown because people are so interested in Ezra Miller and his antics. Well, I don't know if that's true. I also don't care because anything Ezra Miller does in his personal life has no effect on me or anything. All I care about is his movie, you know?
Well, when the first ball dropped with him, I even said this on one of our shows, the pylon's going to come. Like people just once that first ball drops, everyone starts looking for things. Effect. Yes. Everyone begins to look for, okay, let's investigate this. And then they find this and then they find that and then they find this. And it creates, the narrative just gets larger and larger. The story gets bigger and bigger. So that's definitely part of what happened here. But apparently Ezra has decided that he does have issues and he needs help and he's going to go get it. Now, also we knew that the studio was trying to get him help. Is this their influence on him? But here's his statement that he released to Variety. It was an exclusive to Variety. Having recently gone through a time of intense crisis, I now understand that I am suffering complex mental health issues and have begun ongoing treatment. I want to apologize to everyone that I have alarmed and upset with my past behavior. I am committed to doing the necessary work to get back to a healthy, safe, and productive stage in my life. So
who wrote that? And like I'm sure he was a part of that, but I feel like those aren't his words. I feel like someone put that in like, I don't know, Grammarly and did some edits, like, because I don't know, it's too technical. Like, just be honest. Like, yeah, I'm going through some shit. I need to see a doctor. I'm just going to go talk things out. Like, that's all he needed to say.
Yeah, I mean, clearly it's a fashion statement by his PR rep, whoever that is. But I for one am happy he's getting the help he needs, and
as long as he thinks he needs help, like if he doesn't think, if he's just going through the motions to get out of the way, like, oh god, whatever, dude. But again, like I said, like, Ezra Miller's personal life is of no interest to me. I'm different like that. Like, I don't care about these celebrities. I don't care about these athletes off the field, outside, behind the camera. Like, I just care about them professionally. So, like, for me, I'm just like, in a time where, like, like, you could Michael Jackson's music still sells, and he's got a controversial past, right? Bryan Singer and Kevin Spacey, like, their movies aren't erased. Like, you could still enjoy their movies and everything.
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly, he's another one. What's his name? Silva, who directed Jeepers Creepers. Like, I could still enjoy Jeepers Creepers.
Right.
So these people with these horrible pasts.
Polanski.
And to be honest, it doesn't sound like Ezra Miller's done anything nearly as bad as these guys. So
it's true.
I'm like, you guys are talking about canceling the film. Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to start, like, erasing libraries and stuff now? Like, somebody can still enjoy the Cosby Show and that's perfectly fine. So I'm like, why are we canceling these movies outside of the obvious budgetary tax break reasons that have now been established? So I'm like, well, why are we canceling? Just have it come out. Like, Ezra Miller, like, whatever he does outside of the lens is of no issue to us. Like, the less people care about these guys' personal lives, the less it'll be reported, and then we'll all be a lot happier because it has no effect. It really shouldn't.
Right. And I mean,
it affects him professionally and his wallet, but guess what? You did that to yourself.
Right. And I mean, we've known throughout history things that studios have done to actors. If you want to go back as far as Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney when they were children, there's been plenty of stories about those things that have come out after the fact. Like, they didn't have social media back then, so no one knew about it. But all this information comes out after the fact. So,
and who cares? Just recast the role. Like, I don't see what the problem is. Maybe it's because just Eric, like, a lot of these people are. A lot of the fans these days lean to the younger side, at least when we're on Twitter and stuff, right? They don't remember the era of this recasting. I think it's not an issue. That's just what Hollywood did. Oh, okay, recast the role. Like, the thing about the MCU hasn't really recast anyone
except Rhodey. That's it.
Like, it's a couple. Rhodey, Hulk. Yeah. The Red Skull technically was recast. Like, it's which is remarkable in some way. I'm sure there's been other characters. But it's just, that's not a problem for me. Just, okay, new actor. Like, it's a friggin' movie.
Yeah, I just as a human being, though, like, he's a talented guy. Like, I've seen him act in other things, and he's a talented guy. So as a human being, I root for someone like that who at least is owning up to his issues and he wants to get better, no matter what forced that. I don't care what forced him to get there, whether it was the studio, people in his life, or he was just like, crap, I'm really losing it. Whatever happened, excuse me, with Ezra Miller, at least from a human interest side, I'm just happy that he's getting the help he needs. And hopefully, he sticks with it. And, he can talk about this on the press tour as being kind of a redemptive story, which is, the fact that this story came out soon after we heard the story of the 3 options that Warner Brothers had with the movie, that does kind of lend you a little bit to think, well, maybe this is more studio influence than.
Well, here's the thing. Like, for, like, Ezra was kind of waiting to get served for a while, right? I don't know if that's the technical term or whatever. Like, he was, it was on a wanted list or whatever, but he was doing reshoots at the time. So the studio clearly is picking Ezra here. Like, Zaslav has said the movie's coming out. He says he thinks they can even make the movie better than it is. They're doing some reshoots. Ezra's basically hiding from the law in the Warner Brothers lot, right? Like, I'm just spitballing here.
It also tells you that the
They're all in.
movies. Yeah, it also tells you that the movie is probably fantastic. If they're going to these lengths, it tells you that The Flash is probably a fantastic movie.
Yeah. They're hiding him. Can you imagine if he's like sleeping on set because it's, private property, obviously. I'm surprised they didn't send police to like Warner Bros. Like, we have to look for Ezra. I don't know. It's just like
maybe they shot
play
them
too
at
much GTA.
Or they shot them at a different location, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, hidden locations. Who knows? I don't know.
But it seems that this story at least finally has some kind of resolution, and I think for fandom,
what are we going to talk about? What is Twitter going to talk about?
We always have Madam Web, Pete. You and I always have.
There's no Madam Web news in this episode.
There isn't, but we'll find it. We'll find it. Yeah, guys, we want everyone to support us in this venture of purporting us about being the main people, the main show who talks about Madam Web and get us to the premiere. Pete and I want to go to the premiere.
Merik doesn't want to see the movie.
So, yes, I do.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
You hate female superheroes.
I mean, it's more, if I didn't want to see it, it'd be more because Sony's making it. That would be more of a reason why I didn't want to see it. But,
oh, geez.
Because their track record with these films
I still have to see Morbius.
Good. So, yeah.
I feel like I'm kind of caught up, actually.
I didn't hate it like everyone else did. It was okay. You could do without it. It's forgettable.
Did you like it more than the Venom movies?
But I liked it more. Yeah, I think I actually did.
Wow.
I think I actually did. So, but good, good news for Ezra. Good news for this whole story that's been going on, and hopefully we can now move on from it and look towards the film. That's really what I think we all want to do, is look towards the film.
I'll move on with the next topic.
So, yes. So, part of this whole Ezra Miller thing and tied into it really is the state of DC as a whole, right? We kind of been touching on this since the investors call. We did a little bit of talks. We talked a little bit about it on the last show, the restructuring of going on to DC. And one of the main things that has come out of it is Zaslav's desire to find a Kevin Feige for the DC properties. I think that's probably the biggest thing that we've biggest thing that we're.
Would you say it's also the most obvious thing? Like, I feel like we knew that was coming, right?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they've been trying to do this for the longest time before Zaslav took over, and they just haven't been able to. And we've heard people like Greg Berlanti has come up, Dan Lin has come up, his name has come up.
Depending on if you listen to bullshit or not, Zack Snyder's come up.
Yeah, that hasn't come up. But we've heard these names pop up, and it's kind of have different reactions from fans. Like the Greg Berlanti one, would seem the most obvious, since he was the guy who oversaw the CW growth, and no matter how you feel about those shows, they were very successful, and he proved he knows the properties, even though, he took some liberties with characters, but you have to do that, I think. So I feel like he knows the properties, and he would be a good guy to do it. So I don't know what they're going to do with that, but Pete, is Berlanti a guy? Because there's been rumors that he might be the guy who's going to get offered, like recently. Would you be good with him?
I'd be, as someone who defends the CW constantly against people like Eric, I don't know if I want Berlanti. Do I think he's capable of doing it? Yes, because as someone who reads comics, like I've read a writer who can do a version of Batman in this way, a version of Batman that way, as a versatile writer. So I feel like Berlanti has more than one story in mind. Like I really hope I just hope if it was Berlanti, he's not doing like this superhero based team up universe where everyone has like an arrow kit. You know what I'm saying? Like the CW, they all kind of have the same structure. Supergirl has a team, The Flash has a team, Arrow has
Oh,
a
okay.
team,
I know
Black
what you're
Lightning
saying.
has a team. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right.
Like,
Yeah.
they're, as much as I love them, they're all kind of the same show. It's very cookie cutter, cut and paste. I don't. Yeah, so I believe he knows the material and he will let others do what they feel is best. It wouldn't be bad, but like at the same time, it's like Feige. I feel like is such a hands. Not that I wouldn't want a hands-on guy, but I always the original pitch from Warner Brothers is what really interests me, and and it's just going back in the day to like we're gonna have these filmmakers come in and do this. I don't know if I necessarily need like this overarching storyline that has at the end credits, it connects this movie to that movie. Like I don't need Infinity Stones, like connect the dots storyline throughout all these films. If they're just in there and every like 5 years or after every 5 films or whatever, they have like a Justice League film, fine. But I don't know who the guy is, to be honest. I feel like that's what Alan Horn is supposed to be doing right now, is finding that guy. And, we'll see. A lot of people in a lot of articles say it should be Hamada.
Right.
And I would be fine giving Hamada the opportunity because, let's be honest, I think Hamada has kind of done some magic. I think he's kind of saved the brand a bit. Again, depending on who you listen to, if you want to listen to some idiot, they'll tell you otherwise. But let's be honest, Hamada is is the dawn after the darkness. Let's be honest, like going from Snyder to Hamada has been drastically different with, and it's not all because of, Hamada. Like there's still some Snyder elements in there, like Aquaman and Wonder Woman and such, and Ezra. So like the bits and pieces are working, and he's kind of cleaned things up, and I think he deserves a shot. But like whenever one of these new guys comes in, he likes to bring in his own people, and no fault to the other guys, but he just trusts his guys. That happens with a regime change, and we'll see. They just laid off 70 people from HBO Max. Yeah. I know that doesn't have to include Hamada, but we don't see people saying his job's on the line. We say people, you heard he almost quit after Batgirl.
Right.
So maybe he's not happy with the direction of the company himself. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Idiots will champion that as a victory for themselves for whatever reason. But we'll see. I don't know who it is, but at the same time, it's just like keep making movies, and if you want them to connect, I'm sure you'll find somebody to come up with a story for that connect. Me, I don't care about that stuff.
The concept is cool if it works. That's what I always say. If it works, like it worked for Marvel, so that it's a cool concept, but it could have been a disaster. But
they're also the only ones that could do this. Like think about how many other you've had. Warner Brothers try this. Universal's tried this. Fox has tried it to an extent. Like
right.
Only one company's been able to do this, and that's Marvel Studios.
But it's because of Kevin Feige, and that's why that's what I think Zaslav looks at and says we need someone like that. Whatever choice they decide to go with, whether it is a connected universe where the movies lead up to a team up film, or they just do individual films and then, like you said, eventually they put them all together in a movie without the stories interconnecting. Just cool, look, we're doing this movie. Whatever way they go is fine, but he wants someone overseeing it who knows the IP, who cares about it. I think that's the important thing to people don't always bring up with Kevin Feige, is that he grew up in that environment. So
he went through Daredevil and Ghost Rider.
Yes.
Like he went through the journey.
Right. So I think they want someone like that. That's why people automatically go to guys who have been with DC for a while.
This guy that Zaslav brought in, this DeLuca guy, like every time his name's mentioned, like he's basically like comic book historian.
Yeah.
Like his knowledge apparently is very deep. So I imagine DeLuca's got a big hand in this as well. Because
he developed
he's
Blade.
Quizzing the person to make sure they're the right fit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he developed the Blade franchise when he was at New Line, and they said he even tried to get an Iron Man movie before Iron Man was the first film in the MCU. So he clearly knows comics, at least Marvel. I'm sure he knows DC as well. I'm with you. Whoever they pick, I just want it to be someone who cares about the characters, and then whatever style they want to do in creating the films, that's fine. You're right. Hamada definitely has proven he can do it, I think. So if they just stuck with him or had him on as part of, maybe it's a team of 2, who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how
But
that well works.
yeah, but it's going to be interesting to see. A couple of cool things we did learn, though, because a lot of people were afraid that certain shows or movies might be canceled or not even go. And the one I think most people were happy to hear was Green Lantern. That
Well,
one
thank
is
God, because I know the Carusos. That's like the most important show of all time to everyone, not just them.
yeah. I
If
mean,
that show doesn't get made, I'm pretty sure one of them's jumping off a building.
so, but it was cool to hear that, I have to say, because we had talked about the casting. Finn Wittrock is going to play. I forget which Green Lantern.
Guy Gardner, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's Guy Gardner. So yeah, so we had talked about the casting months ago. So the fact that they're still going forward with that.
Well, and then you hear how expensive it is, and it's like, so maybe they're taking their time with it because it's a lot, like, God forbid they put out some subpar Green Lantern trailer. Can you imagine after what everyone did to She-Hulk?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they need that much more negativity? Do they need to bring that much more? Warner Brothers DC does enough bringing negativity upon themselves. They need to pile on themselves for it. No. So let them
That's
take
true.
their time. If it's really that detailed and expensive, because I imagine that's probably part of the reason why Green Lantern films is just going to be really, really expensive.
Yeah,
like, how much of that's real? Like, that's probably why they did it the way they did it in 2011. Like, green screen, everything, suit, all that jazz. Like, it's probably just an overall, like, really expensive movie to make.
Right. I agree. Like, that's probably one of the big deals going on. And it's a series. It's not a movie. It's an actual television series. So, that's another thing. The budgets usually aren't as big unless you're like Game of Thrones or something like that. But how far do they want to go with this title? But Green Lantern is an important part of the DC universe. So it's right for them to get this right. And if they're going to continue going forward with it, then yeah. I'm happy. We were happy to hear that. We still don't know what's going to happen with Titans and Doom Patrol after this season.
I think they're done.
That's coming up. Yeah, a lot of people do think that they're finished. We do know that there's still plans for J.J. Abrams' Justice League Dark series. There's been talk about the Constantine spinoff, Madame Xanadu. Those are apparently still in development. So who knows? But it was good to. I just remember everyone was freaking out like all these things are gonna get canceled immediately because of what happened to Batgirl, and it turns out that that's not the case. So a lot of changes going on at DC, as we know, or at Warner Brothers as a whole, as we know. So it's gonna be interesting to see, I guess, how the next 6 months to a year pan out, especially since a year from now is when they plan on merging HBO Max and Discovery Plus into one service. So we will see how that all works out. Yep. So it's going to be a fun year of speculation, or a crazy year of speculation. However you prefer to look at it, I guess it's your your choice. But one thing we do know that is being that has been extended for another season is Harley Quinn season 4. So that is coming.
I haven't caught up on the latest episode, but this season is pretty good.
Yeah. So we do know Harley Quinn is coming, which is great because that show is fantastic. And yeah, it's good that they're sticking with something that's working. They didn't just get rid of it because they are coming in and changing it. This is something that's, and as we know, it's probably not that much money to make because it's an animated series. So, but guys, if you're fans of Harley Quinn, do not fear. It has been renewed and it will continue going on after.
Are you caught up?
I am not. I have to watch. I have to catch up. I haven't watched anything recently, to be honest. I've been kind of.
I'm surprisingly caught up on everything except for Flash. So I'm like, wow, this has never happened to me before.
It would take. I actually have been focusing on Sandman, and I still haven't finished it. I think I have 2 episodes left, but I've had a lot of family stuff to do recently, so I've been kind of out of the TV, and I've been focusing on sports side as well. So my focus has been shifting, but one thing that my focus is not shifting from is Black Adam, which is coming in October. And there was the original script for Shazam was supposed to have Black Adam in it. I don't know how many people knew that, but yes, that was supposed to be the case. But The Rock was kind of like, no. He read the script and he's like, "We just be doing it a major disservice to the character. We can't make this movie." So this was his quote. He said, "When the first draft of the movie came to us, it was a combination of Black Adam and Shazam, 2 origin stories in one movie. Now that was the goal. So it wasn't a complete surprise, but when I read that, I just knew in my gut, we can't make this movie like this. We would be doing Black Adam an incredible disservice. It would have been fine for Shazam having 2 origin stories converge in one movie, but not good for Black Adam." So as a, I don't know how big a fan of the character that you are, but do you think that this would have happened if it wasn't The Rock playing Black Adam?
Do
you think they would have?
I think The Rock basically made this. The Rock's stardom basically got Black Adam a movie, right? He's been on the role for so long, so
Right.
his eventual rise to just Hollywood domination, allowed Warner Brothers to take advantage of that. And Shazam did use Dr. Sivana in the first one, so it's not like he didn't have a big time Shazam villain in that movie.
Right.
And I kind of prefer this kind of, like I said, the Godzilla Kong method of, solo movie, team. Like this is what should happen with BVS, right?
Yeah.
Solo, let's get them together for the third movie. So I think this is, part of, they learned their lesson, and we'll see what happens, hopefully, because apparently there's never been any connection between the two films. So we'll see where it goes. And I'm assuming they're connected somehow. Like, how could Black Adam not be connected to Shazam? So hopefully there's some post-credits content that connects the two franchises. But yeah, again, The Rock really led to this. He's the biggest star in the world right now, and outside of Hasbulla. And he basically propelled this the way it goes, and I'm fine with it because I think this is how it should be done, and if they tease a little bit, come to find, because Black Manta was a key part of Aquaman 1, and he's a big part of Aquaman 2. So, you could do it either way. I think this is good. And I think the fans win out on this because we're going to get 2 really good origin films. I love the first Shazam, and I'm expecting big things from Black Adam. I think it's going to be a fun movie. I think it's going to be an enjoyable movie. I think it's going to be action-packed. So, I'm happy he did it because, it worked out better for us.
Yeah, and we're getting JSA stuff in Black Adam as well, so that should be cool to see those characters on the big screen, which may not have happened if The Rock didn't intervene and take the franchise in a different direction. It's crazy when you think he's been involved with it since 2007.
Yeah, because I was like, I don't even remember hearing about it that far back.
I know. I don't remember.
Do you remember
either.
hearing about anything about Black Adam and Dark Knight was going on?
No, I don't.
I don't remember anything about Black Adam.
No, but again, that was kind of pre the social media boom that happened. It was kind of still kind of early in it was kind of in its infancy, specifically with Twitter, when people really started latching onto Twitter for news. So if it was mentioned around that time, and we wouldn't have known it unless you read a trade, and possibly even because he wasn't as big a movie star at 2007 as he is now as well. So still probably know more for his wrestling antics at that time than his movie career. So
he'll always be known for his wrestling antics.
Right. I mean, that's what got him here.
He's still, I don't know of anyone who calls him Dwayne Johnson.
Nope. You're 100% correct. No one. I don't know anyone who calls him Dwayne Johnson, except maybe his mother. So I don't know, but it's cool. And you're right. I'm glad we're getting these 2 separate stories.
Your mother doesn't call you Coli.
No, she does not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
No, she doesn't call me Coli at all.
You'd have to go at least to another state for someone to call you. Well, that's not true. If you were in Manhattan, I don't think many people are like, "Hey, champ!" I think on the island, you've got to go on the mainland. Yeah, that makes sense.
I prefer Collie, but hey, call me what
Coli. 17 times, champ. Here, Coli. 17 times. Shoot, fly, fly, 17 times. Eat 17 pies. Bake 17 pies. 17 minutes. 1 minute, 1 pie. 8, 17 times, champ. There go Coli. Long Island.
I was letting Pete get that out of his system. Let's let all that energy come out. Speaking of energy, the Suicide Squad was a fantastic, fun, energy-filled film, and one of the main characters in it was Idris Elba's Bloodshot.
Bloodsport.
Hmm?
Bloodsport.
Yes, Bloodsport. My fault.
So you combine Bloodsport and Deadshot.
Yeah, I know. And of course, the famous Bloodsport story is that he put Superman, no, not killed him, put him in the ICU with a kryptonite bullet. So Idris Elba, the actor, wants to tell that story. He wants to tell the Bloodsport versus Superman story. I personally think it would be cool. I just don't know what format you would have to put this in.
Yeah,
So,
I'm totally down for this.
Right?
I just don't know how you make this a movie.
They
It's
should
got
do
to be
it,
part of a larger plan.
or do an HBO Max show on.
It's got to be part of a movie. Luthor puts out a hit on Superman, something like that. A bunch of mercenaries. Maybe this is how you get your Bloodsport, Deathstroke movie, right? Maybe
that's true.
Because Idris has been teasing things. He said something was very tasty cooking up at Warner Brothers DC, so he says he's on the way back. And then you hear this news. I forget which one came first. I think this came first, and the interview came later.
Mm-hmm.
It's on our Twitter feed, so you got to do some scrolling because it's probably 2 weeks old, maybe more. So you're gonna have to do some scrolling on Twitter. But if you know how to search, you'll be fine. So he's been teasing some things. People have been wanting this movie. You get Idris, you get Will, you get whoever to play Deathstroke. Whether you bring Manganiello back or whatever. I think fans really would like that, and I think that's a movie with enough star power where people will be interested, especially if it's sold like some sort of action flick. And maybe that's how you get Superman back on the big screen. I don't know. Henry Cavill fans would be happy with that because that would obviously mean you would try to bring Cavill, but then you hear rumors like Cavill's already turned down the role again. They reached out to him. You've heard that, so who the hell knows what's going on there? Or maybe you just, like I said, WTF and just recast the role and just you make up your own continuity. There you go, headcanon. Like just make a movie. Okay. Headcanon. Let the idiots on Twitter fight over where this movie falls in the timeline and what universe, and we're just going to make the movie with the talent we have. But I'd be down for something like that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the story is alluded to in the Suicide Squad. They talk about.
It's just, do you make a movie about killing Superman after BVS? Like, think about that. Is that a movie you want? No, I'm serious. Is that a movie you want to make?
Well, how I would do it is if I was doing another Superman film, maybe this is what I would start with. Right?
See, I'm totally different. I would go totally opposite direction, and I would do like a Superman Mr. Mxyzptlk movie because it could just be like Mxyzptlk teasing Superman and driving him crazy. Superman's not necessarily saving the world. It's a little offbeat. It'll be a little lighter. I don't know if you want to make a movie about gang. All right, guys, we're going to hire a bunch of mercs and we're going to kill Superman. I just don't know if you want to do that again.
My idea would be different. Like I'd have the movie start with him in the ICU, and then tell the story from that point.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I would start. That's how I would start it. Because again, I mean, we've seen with Batman, at least when Batman Begins, they used lesser known villains for that, and it worked. So I wonder if they could do something like that with using Bloodsport, even though we've met him already, but no one really knows a lot about him. You put him in this kind of a story with Superman involved. It might be a cool little angle to explore. I don't know. But I would like to see this just because I think Elba's a really good actor. And I'd like to see, I'd like to see him tackle this. And if they brought Cavill back for it and he wanted to do it, maybe this is a story that would get him involved, or maybe a story that he would want to do.
I don't know. I feel like Cavill doesn't want to get shot again. I feel like Cavill's like, no, you're not bringing me back to try to kill me again. Why do you only bring me back to kill me?
That's true. That's a good point.
Like, no, call it Hulkland. Shoot Hulkland.
Yeah, well, no, I don't think that would be cool on the CW to do that storyline. I don't know if you could do.
You want to talk about really confusing fan bases? You get Idris Elba, Superman, and Lois to shoot it.
I know, but the crazy thing is,
that'd be the greatest troll of all time.
Yeah, but the Crisis series kind of made all of that possible.
It did, but everyone's gonna fight. The Twitter fights would be
Oh, of
glorious.
course, that's going to happen regardless. So it's going to be interesting to see if this does go forward. But again, I like that these guys who are in these roles. I mean, I know it's more money for them too, and just being part of it. But
Yeah,
that
I
they're
like that. Yeah, actors want to keep acting. Yeah, I
right.
love that they
But
want to keep doing this.
But I like that they have an affinity for the part now, and they want to continue telling stories with the role. That I think is cool.
Well, that's because
So
they know they can't find other work other than these movies. So they just want a role that's well received.
well, this interview was for the promoting the movie Beast that he's in, which looks crazy.
It
I don't
does. It
know.
looks really nuts.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who's seen it, but it does look nuts. So we'll see what happens going forward with this Bloodsport Superman angle.
I would just like more Bloodsport in general. I like Idris. Like you said, he's a great
Yeah.
actor. So,
Yeah.
If he can't make a cameo in The Peacemaker season 2, I'm all for that too. Just because that dynamic was very fun. I enjoyed the two of those characters together. So
Yes. So we mentioned that we knew Harley Quinn was being renewed and coming back. There's been a couple other things that we've gotten clarification on. One of them being the Penguin series.
damn right.
Which we know Pete's happy about.
Damn right.
It's going to start shooting in February.
Mm-hmm.
So we know that that's going forward. Colin Farrell had kind of been not sure. He was probably unsure of what was going on too when he spoke about it. But
like everybody else.
yeah, but it's kind of, it goes in line with what's going on and the idea that they had. It's going forward.
So don't, again, if they're doing a spinoff to the Batman 2's coming.
Yeah.
Let's calm down. They're not going to make a spinoff if they're going to cancel the movie. Please step away from the ledge.
Dude, that's the fact that people read into that anything more. I mean, it shouldn't be surprising, but
well, the part thing is it was done by good outlets, and you're like, no, I got my eye on you. And it's like, I used to trust you.
Yeah.
You used to be a good outlet. What happened?
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, the Deadline Cavill story, I think, hurt them.
Yeah.
So anytime you see something from Deadline now, you might be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I want to.
It's still Deadline, but I believe was it IGN or somebody who worded it funny? A couple outlets worded it, and you're like, I used to give you a lot of credit.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this as well. To me, the best performance in the Batman was Colin Farrell's Penguin. So they all were great, but he was my favorite one. So I'm really, really looking forward to see what they're going to do in a series surrounding him. Since especially how the movie left off, if it's going to pick up from there, it's going to be awesome.
Yes, it will.
So and then I'm wondering if they're going to bring in any other characters. Any other hero characters. Obviously they won't probably have Batman in it, but will they bring in someone else?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Will they introduce someone in this? Maybe a Robin? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I'm very, very interested in this, and I'm glad it's going forward. Another thing that's going forward that people were kind of, especially because Batgirl got canceled, that people were kind of skeptical about was Black Canary. That movie is still also in development. It's still also moving forward. So that's cool as well. She was one of the cooler parts of Birds of Prey. I think the whole movie was cool. I really enjoyed it. But she was one of the cooler parts, and the fact that, and I think they want to be in the business of Journey Smollett's, and she's very talented, and she was in what's it, Love Something Country, I forget. It was an HBO Max show, but she was in that as well. And so she's going to Lovecraft Country, that's what it's called. She's going to continue in the role as Black Canary. So that's another cool thing that we know is coming and going to continue going forward.
And what happens with Black Canary? Usually she meets a Green Arrow. So it'll be interesting to see if we ever get that storyline. You mentioned, who from the Batman will show up in the Penguin again. Who from Birds of Prey could show up in this one?
Sure.
Part of the extended universe, obviously.
Huntress.
I love Huntress. She was my favorite part.
Yeah.
Of Birds of Prey. And I really dig that movie. So, excited to see that this is still being, kicked around over there. There were talk that Batgirl was going to spin off a Black Canary movie. So we'll see. Maybe they're reworking their plans to try to fit her into this new plan. Now that Warner Brothers has a plan, they are fitting everything into their plan because everyone kept asking for their plans, and now we have a plan, so now everything fits within the plan. So you have your
Right.
plan.
Yep.
That plan's there. And that's basically that jazz. This is probably, I'm not as hyped as most people are for this. I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Like, all right, Black Canary. All right, we'll see what happens when it comes out. Like, like I'm just not like a raging Black Canary fan. So
Right. But it does give you the possibility of bringing Harley back in. Like, it gives you possibilities to keep these characters in everyone's mind. And I'm pretty sure DC wants to stay within the Harley Quinn, Margot Robbie business. So the fact that
as
this
of
is
right now, they're in the Harley Quinn Lady Gaga business because she's
right,
the only Harley Quinn who's got a movie coming out.
yes, but yeah, but that's totally.
We'll
different.
see where their loyalties lie.
Yeah, that movie sounds interesting. I'm the more I hear about the Joker sequel, the more into it I'm getting. So
Yeah, baby.
Definitely can't wait for that one as well.
Everyone but Nico can watch it. No, Nico's not friends with the Gaga stand, so Nico can't watch this movie. Nico cannot watch it.
Yeah. Nico's, well, maybe this is the way he get back in their good graces.
Nah, bridges are burned.
So
the Gagas are not going to forgive him.
So who knows? We'll see. But a little bit of interesting news came out about Strange Adventures, which was one of the projects that Greg Berlanti production was going to be creating for HBO Max. As we know, that got canceled. But Kevin Smith recently on his podcast said that it was going to center around Bizarro and Jimmy Olsen, and Nicolas Cage apparently was going to wanted to play Bizarro. Now it's kind of a crazy, full circle when you know that Cage was going to be Superman in the Superman Lives project. That never happened. But what do you think about that? Are you upset now? Would you wanted to see Nick Cage play Bizarro?
This episode, like, it seemed like this was going to be like this kind of like serial show. Like every episode is going to be different. So this was like one episode, or this is one story.
Yeah, one-offs. Yeah,
something like that. Kind of like What If-ish. It would have been cool. Am I like, oh man, like no? Because everyone, like, if you know me, you know I think Nick Cage is a horrible actor. So the less Nick Cage I see, the better. But it would have been interesting just with the history of Superman Lives and whatnot, and the history that Kevin Smith has with Superman Lives and, the spider and blah, 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 and all that jazz. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a bummer. But as long as I'm more interested in that Green Lantern show that Berlanti's developing, so that kind of takes priority.
Yeah, I mean, I know your feelings about Nick Cage, but The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent was fantastic.
Everyone says that movie's very good. I will check that movie out.
And he was great in it. So it's definitely, if this would have been another step on his career comeback, I guess, it would have been cool to see, especially because he was supposed to play Superman. It would have been cool to see him play Bizarro for me, but it's not happening. So a little bit of a bummer there for people who are fans of Nick Cage, and for maybe Bizarro fans, where people, want to see that character done in some kind of live action.
Yeah, I'd like, Superman and Lois did like their version of Bizarro, right, which was interesting, but it's not true Bizarro.
No.
I'd love to see the cloned version of Superman failed, turned to the bubbling, I don't know, Quasimodo with flying power. I'd love to see a purple Bizarro. So we'll see.
We will see.
I'd like to get Superman back on track first.
Yes, I agree with you there.
Before we start cloning him and making him ugly.
Yeah, I'd like to see Superman on the big screen done well again. And again, not that I dislike Man of Steel. I actually enjoyed it very much.
It's everything that came out for that was kind of like a derailment.
Yeah. So I definitely would like to see the character kind of have a rebirth on film. I still don't understand why he's so hard to do. That's a whole other show, but I still don't understand why he's so hard to do.
I don't get it either. I don't know. It just stick to what makes Superman Superman.
I don't understand it.
And just don't tell me the origin. Just give me a movie. Kind of.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, we've kind of
either
seen
like
that
do it like
already.
style, like 89 style, just dive into it, or kind of the Batman style early on,
Exactly.
like not origin, not year 1, but year 3,
Yes.
whatever.
So we've mentioned the CW a few times, and we finally learned that the Nexstar Media Group has acquired 75% ownership interest of the CW from Warner Brothers Discovery and Paramount Global. So both Warner Brothers and Paramount will retain 12.5% ownership, but Nexstar Media Group will acquire 75%. And they also said that, which this was a shock to me, but apparently
This is what I've been dying to talk to you about this, because you've been preaching the opposite for years, and I'm kind of glad this happened.
Yeah, I had no idea that the demographic, the age demographic really that the CW hits is 58 years old.
So Eric is the target audience for shows like Batwoman, for shows like Black Lightning.
Time out. I'm not that old. I'm not that old. But
Eric is the target audience for these shows, and so that means you've got to watch Batwoman season 3 now, because you are the audience.
Mm-mm.
You're the audience. Watch it. I said just watch season 3. Just give it a shot.
Nope, not gonna do it. But the article even says they should have aimed their programming at teens and young adults. So what does that say for people who are almost 60 years old?
They love superheroes.
They love teen stories. Maybe it's a way for them to reconnect to their youth. I don't know.
Eric needs to watch Batwoman now because he's the demographic.
Wow. That's not nice.
Old man, look at my life.
Well, if I'm in that range, then a bunch of people we know are in that same.
I agree. Bill should be watching Batwoman season 3. Rick should watch anything, because I know he doesn't watch anything.
That is true. That is very true.
Rick's like, this is the worst Lois Lane I've ever seen in my life. He's like, have you watched the show? No, I saw this clip. Like, okay, great.
And
thanks.
She's actually one of the best. But
yeah, okay, go watch your puppets.
Hey, I like the puppets, but it's not. He's a little bit.
I'm still mad about the mashed potatoes. He's such a scrub.
Oh, I made more. Not that this matters, but I made more mashed potatoes the other night.
I'm sure they were delicious. I'm sure they're better than Rick's.
I left the skin in them too, because sometimes I like to do that. Keep the skin.
What is that secret ingredient Rick uses that you also use? It's not a secret.
Cream cheese. That's the secret ingredient, guys. Cream cheese.
Rick's been making mashed potatoes with a secret ingredient for years.
I do more. I like put heavy cream in them sometimes and stuff, but his was cream cheese. That's what he told us. So I was like, okay, yay.
You're like, oh, I do that too. He's like, no, you don't. No, you don't. It's a Rick Shoe special.
I know. Crazy. But they plan on, guys, do not fear. The CW apparently plans on continuing with these same types of stories.
So you're going to be watching more CW?
I don't know what that means for the DC universe. I don't know. It definitely appears that they're moving everything to HBO Max and then Discovery Plus, whatever that service becomes.
So Gotham Knights is made for an older audience.
That's what they're saying. Yes, according to their metrics.
I can't wait till you and Nico and everyone's like, Gotham Knights is great. The CW is really doing well here. I can't wait for all you haters to just eat crow. I'll smoke it for you. You guys like smoked crow? What kind of barbecue sauce you like?
Smoking's not a real talent, Pete. Where have we heard that before?
Dick shoes. Dick shoes. Rick couldn't regulate a temperature. He was using an anal thermometer.
Wow. Oh God! Wow. I feel like that's a good segue for what's coming up. So I'm just gonna go there right now. So, does your happy trail look more like a happy highway? Does your bush peek out over your fence? If you had to even think about the answer, you need the revolutionary products from Manscaped. Success is when preparation meets opportunity, and Manscaped's Platinum package will make sure you're prepared whenever opportunity strikes. Join the 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code Gotham. So they're
It's funny because this ad doesn't apply to me because I just use the Lawnmower 4.0 and I keep everything in check. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, well, I'm already, styling, profiling.
Yes, so they're re-releasing the Platinum package, guys, and you can interpret that however you wish. If you want to, maintain your Platinum package as well, this is probably a very, very good way to do it. They also have, but they're adding different things to it. So they're adding the body wash this time. They're adding the
Great
shampoo
scent.
and conditioner.
The scent is awesome.
Yeah, and the deodorant as well. So they're adding more.
Same scent too. So you walk out of the shower, put on deodorant, you smell like a champ of Long Island.
So you're getting all of that also, plus what we traditionally have spoken about. So you're getting the ball deodorant, the crop reviver, the crop preserver. You get the boxers as well, and the travel bag that Pete and I have talked to about as well. And I will say that
I think it's alligator skin.
I believe you're right.
Yeah.
I will say that since we've had this partnership with Manscaped, it is something that I'm more attentive to in my own life.
Eric's balls have never looked better.
So yes, my balls are in the best shape that they've been in a long time. So it's been a very, very cool partnership, and we get, like I said, we get to try the products when they send them out, and they're fantastic.
Would you guys like Eric to do like a live demo of any of the products? Do we have to do that on like Pornhub?
I think
if we want to do a live demo, do we have to do it on Pornhub? I'm just asking because you can't do it on YouTube.
No.
Or because it's a demonstration, we could.
I don't think so.
It might do wonders for the YouTube channel.
I don't know if anyone wants to see that, to be honest, Pete. I'm not sure.
I'm just saying. Oh, that's why I said Pornhub, because I think it's the right audience. Justin has muted his radio right now. He's like, "Oh God, this is like homecoming. This is crazy. Kids can't listen to this."
Oh man, unbelievable.
Sorry, Justin. I'll never let you live that one down.
That's true. That was a crazy comment. Even I can't. Even I have to admit that was a little.
That's worse than like post Batman World. So. We all know how much I ragged him for that.
Yeah, that porn in Homecoming. I have no idea, but whatever. I mean the what was Flash was calling him Peter Parker. I mean that it doesn't get much.
Which is one of the great nicknames.
I know, right? Like, I don't know. Whatever. All right, guys. So get 20% off and free shipping with the code Gotham at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use code Gotham. Use the Platinum package because the gold standard is no longer good enough. So one of the more depressing news stories we got outside of talking about my balls is earlier this year is that we heard that Neve Campbell was not going to be returning to Scream 6. And it turned out that it happened to be for money. So her thought and her feeling is that it was based on sex, that she's a female. So she said, "I honestly don't believe that if I were a man and had done 5 installments of a huge blockbuster franchise over 25 years, that the number that I was offered would be the number that would be offered to a man. And in my soul, I just couldn't do that. I couldn't walk on set feeling undervalued and feeling the unfairness or lack of fairness around that." I don't know. Obviously, I'm not in Hollywood. I've never been in a film, at least that I could speak to on here. I've never done a film where I got paid for something and then a woman got paid less. I can't speak to this firsthand. It does kind of fall in line with what we've heard about in other industries. So, I mean, if that's what she felt and that's what she thought, then good for her for standing her ground. I mean, Courtney Cox came back, right? I mean,
it all depends on how much money Neve Campbell thinks she's worth and what she's brought to this franchise, and that didn't meet her expectations. It makes me wonder, would something like this happen to like Sigourney Weaver or
right,
what's her name from Halloween? Why am I name
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Jamie Lee Curtis. You know, similar situations like Sigourney Weaver and Alien. All right, Jamie Lee Curtis and Halloween. And then you hear recently about Dallas Bryce Howard.
Right.
And Jurassic World Domination or whatever that stupid. I haven't even seen it yet.
Right.
Dominion and Chris Pratt got a way higher salary than her, and I figured that they're kind of equals at that point. To be honest, when it comes to that movie and that series, you know, I hope it's not true. But at the same time, it's like, why do they think that? I don't know. Just if the rumors are true, where Nev's role is a little bit smaller in 6 and in 7, it's actually larger. Maybe they were thinking we can appropriately pay her instead of paying her like she's a free agent. Like, thank you for all the money in the past. We'll see. Maybe they thought they were giving her an appropriate deal based on her amount of time in that film. You know, because it's been said that her role in 6 is a little bit smaller.
Well, it wasn't that big in.
That's what I'm saying. Like if it's in the last one, she was kind of in the periphery. Like she was more or less support. She wasn't really, you know, the main target. And maybe that's part of the reason why Nev was like, "No, I don't want to do this. Like you're not doing this to my character. You know, you're kind of watering me down in my franchise without killing me. Like why am I even here?"
Right. And I
so
think
we'll see.
Yeah, and I think with her, like she is the main character. So I think she has like legs to stand on, a leg to stand on when it comes.
But that also shows you like 6 is going in a different direction than like, because the previous movies were always about lineage and some connection to Sidney Prescott, right? Like now they're kind of moving away from that.
Right. I'm gonna assume
now it's more about lineage in Woodsboro. Now it doesn't even take place in Woodsboro, I think.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna assume that her presence is in this film too, in some form.
It's got. I mean, I'm sure she's mentioned. I'm sure something happens.
If Gail is there, I mean,
yeah. I mean, what if they kill? What if Sidney dies off screen and we don't know about it? Like, I'm just saying,
not.
You know, like,
I hope not.
I bet. We'll see. What if they're bitter? What if now, you know, Nev's going on this PR tour and now they're angry and bitter and like, oh, and like I can see vengeful writers and
I think
executives.
Right. I think this was more of a studio call. I don't think I'm sure the writers wrote a script with her in it.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they wanted to keep her. It was probably a studio call. Obviously, it usually is when the money gets involved. And she was like, well, no, if I'm not getting paid what I believe my value is. And let's be honest, she is the star of the franchise. It's her franchise. So I don't blame her in that.
Which is one of my biggest issues with the last movie. I didn't think she was in it enough.
Yeah. And I don't blame her for fighting. I don't blame her for fighting for her money if that's what she feels. But it's still going to suck if she's not in it. And who knows, maybe they'll have a come to Jesus moment and she'll be in 7 and all will be well in the world again.
Just don't do anything dumb. Don't do something stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Don't do something stupid.
I hope, again, I do hope she comes back. So we'll see what happens. But there were a little bit of blurbs that came out of this from the cast as well. It's talking about the movie itself. It says the Ghostface gets a lot more intimidating. Jenna Ortega, who's the lead now, I would say. She's Ghostface gets a lot more intimidating. I just read part of the script and it gets more and more gory. I think this is probably the most aggressive and violent version of Ghostface we've ever seen, which I think will be really fun to shoot. That kind of gives me vibes of the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, where they made Freddy look more sinister, and you know, I kind of get feelings that maybe that kind of a vibe where they're going. I don't know, but we'll see. So
I look forward to watching it, but I'm skeptical. I'll put it that way.
Of course,
I've never been kind of like nervous about a Scream movie before, but this is no Neve Campbell. They're clearly going a different direction. I'm like, I don't necessarily know if I like where they're going because, you know, again, it's always been about Sidney and Gail and, you know, that group of people. You know, and now that Dewey's dead, you know, spoiler alert. You know, that group of people is kind of fading out, and you know, while the new cast was good, it's just they're not my Scream guys. You know, they're definitely for the new generation.
Exactly. Yep.
So we'll see. But you know, I look forward to checking it out. I'm interested. You know, I hope to walk in there skeptical and walk out pleased.
Yeah, I hope that they do the franchise justice. That's how I look at it. And you know, let's hope that like I said, let's hope that we can get some kind of resolution and that maybe she'll be back for the next installment. At least that's my hope.
I hope it's good enough that we get next. It's like that's the thing too. Like if this one bombs,
Yeah,
we're not
that's
getting
true.
7.
You're right.
Not for a while. So.
Fans will speak. So fans speak. We our money talks in this regard. So that's exactly what would happen.
It makes me feel good though. It's like, oh, Nev doesn't want to mail it in. Like she wants to get what she's like. She could have just accepted this paycheck and done her bit and walked away. But it seems like she cares about what she does and she wants more money because she cares. And like, it's not a negative on Nev if you ask me at all.
No, I mean that's the society we live in. You should get the most money you can. I'm not mad at her, or I don't blame her for fighting for more money.
Not at all.
Do what you got to do.
Not when someone's got enough to give it to you either.
Right, and like I said, it's her franchise. So for me, I'd be the same way. Like I'm the reason people have been coming to see this thing for however many installments.
It's like, yeah, you teased him. You made him all think it was about Drew Barrymore, and then I carried this franchise for 6 more films.
Yeah. So, well, one franchise we know that people do co-watch is the MCU and the Marvel films, and it seems that they are Teflon now, because it doesn't matter. It even doesn't even matter the quality. They just seem to make money. Like I brought this up.
Yeah, because Captain Marvel's horrible.
I made over $1 billion.
It's crazy. It is.
No matter how you feel about it,
is horrible.
Yep, that made over $1 billion as well.
That's insane.
Thor: Love and Thunder. I think I last read made close to 700 million worldwide or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked the film, but I did. If you had asked me before if I thought it would make that much, I would have said no way. I can't believe it's made that much.
I think it's kids' money. I think it's just parents know that they can bring their kids to a film.
I think that's fair. I think it's definitely their movies are safer, even though gore is a little scary looking. So that I don't know how parents feel about that, and we know with Doctor Strange that had a lot of horror elements. So even that, I don't know how much parents would have brought their kids to see that, but one guy, Damon Lindelof, who did Lost, who did Watchmen, he also did the Leftovers show on HBO. He feels that Marvel should make less movies so each one can feel a bit more special. He says, just a quote, he says, it's always going to be hard because once you've got someone's attention, you want to keep it. And so the idea of letting it go and not knowing if you're ever going to get back to it again is sort of like it's antithetical to the way that we're wired. From a slightly more cynical standpoint, this is a business. It's an industry. And if you make a couple of great Marvel movies, the instinct is we need to make more Marvel movies and we need to expand this. And he has this sort of feeling like, wow, I wish they made less because it would make each one that came out a little bit more special. But he still watches all of them. So what do you think about that? I'll let you go first.
I think there's some truth to that, because I don't know, like a movie like Captain Marvel, it's like, do we need a Captain Marvel movie? Like necessarily, like I'm all about like giving the big tentpole guys their films, Iron Man, Captain America, but like when it seems like even as a fan, there's too much content to keep up with. Not like with all the shows now, streaming wise, and that includes all the brands. Like, but there's something about a Batman movie that comes out every 4 years, something like that. That's special. It's about but Batman transcends, I feel like, even the genre itself. There's one point where we didn't have anything as a fandom, and now we have too much, and it's hard to keep up. So I don't know. You can make any argument, like, do we need another movie? Do we need this movie? Does this lower character need to get a film or a TV show? Do they deserve it? Like, because you could do it with a more higher profile character or something, right? I don't know. I think if you ask people, I think if you ask 100 people, I think you'll come up with 50 answers one way, 50 answers another.
Correct.
I don't think anyone's right or wrong. It's all about personal preference. Me, for one, I've actually said recently, I kind of wish they would tone it down just because it's like, it's hard to keep up with things. It just is. Like, I fell behind The Flash and now I have to wait until it's on Netflix to catch up. No, it just is though. But then but what did I do? I filled that time with Captain Marvel. I filled that time with I Am Groot. I filled that time with, I rewatched the Batman. So it's like, and then in between you do whatever else you want. But there's just, to be honest, there's just not enough time a day for the amount of content they make.
You're right. I mean, and that's one thing I will say is it feels like a job now in a way where you have to watch it because if you don't, you're gonna get lost.
And just think about the stuff we don't cover on the show. Like we didn't review that Green Lantern movie that came out. Like, it's saying like there's so much everywhere. That's a direct TV. That's something we haven't even talked about. We talk about movies streaming. We didn't even mention like direct to TV movies. So
yeah. So I mean, there is something to this. I can definitely see where he's coming from. To me, I just keep saying, well, how is it any different than watching a TV series or reading a comic series? That keep on going and going and going. That's kind of the same deal. But
we see the same thing in comics. So they're like, do we need another Batman title? Because there's like 12 Batman titles out there. Like, I get it.
You're right. Like I see that part of it. And maybe if it was less of you got 2 or 3 a year, maybe you only got 1 or 2 a year, even that might be a little better. But now with the advent of the Disney Plus shows and all the streaming shows that we have on Disney Plus that are Marvel related in the MCU, it's a lot. And
just think if you're actually someone who actually likes fandoms outside of superheroes, like you're a Star Wars guy, you got to watch all those Star Wars shows now. Like I don't do that. Like I save time doing that. That's part of the reason why I don't like Star Wars. I just can't fit it in anywhere.
No, but you're right. I mean, it does become. I mean, for me, it's cool. We're getting more content. I like this stuff, so I'm going to watch it anyway. But I understand the people who say, yeah, it's getting a little watered down or it's losing some of the specialness of having these things go on screen. I understand that. Sure.
And then you look at what Sony's doing. Like, do we need a Morbius solo film?
No. Like, it's those types of things. You're right.
I know I harp on Captain Marvel, but it's like those type of characters. Do they need exposure like that? I don't know.
No. I would have never, like I say this all the time. I would have never thought Ant-Man would have been made into a movie. And here we are.
And that's a surprise hit. That's definitely one where I didn't think it would take off like it has. But then again, it's like a lot of people say the second movie sucked. I'm one of the few people who really enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp. A lot of people don't like that movie. It's blow or cheer for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I don't hate it. I don't think
it doesn't hold up to the first, but I think it's a fun, enjoyable movie.
Right. I think that's the issue too with a lot of the sequels, where especially when the first film is so awesome. Like Guardians of the Galaxy to me is one of the best MCU films, period. But the second one I hate. Yeah. Like I hate it.
I'll never watch it again.
So that's like kind of a weird way to look at it, but part of that is because I expected it to be so great because the first one was so good.
So it almost makes me wonder, like, maybe if they took the foot off the gas a little bit, put a little bit more time in between products,
Yeah.
But it's hard to do when they're like, hey, we haven't made these movies yet, but here's the next 5 years. Like they have this presentation and I was like, all right, we're doing that. Well, it's not 5 years, but like, here's the next 2 years. And it's like, how am I supposed to watch all this?
It's true. It's overwhelming.
It's a lot.
It is.
And you wonder why Warner Brothers can't keep up. Because like, again, there's only been one group of people who've been able to do this on a professional level. And that's the people over at Marvel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
they created this and they perfected it.
Yep. Star Wars is kind of doing it now too.
But that's because now they're owned by Disney and they're using the Marvel method.
But
at least when it comes to showing and displaying things, like the Disney spectacle, like Disney's
Disney Plus. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Disney Plus changed everything. Disney Plus gave them another outlet to do these things that maybe wouldn't have hit well on the big screen. Now you have this chance to show.
You don't need to have a TV network. No. You just need a streaming, It's given these companies, they don't need networks to display their content because of streaming. Like before they were kind of like, beholden to the networks.
Right.
They had all the power. Like, well, okay, well, you got content, but how are they going to see it?
Right.
You need us. Now they're saying we don't need you.
Yep.
They have the internet.
Yep. You don't need, they all have their own studios and they all have their own film divisions and you don't need it anymore. So yeah, I get what he's saying. He does end it off by saying, I've made prequels and sequels and reboots, so I can't be a hypocrite and say, God, come up with an original idea. Meanwhile, I'm making 2 Star Trek movies at Prometheus, so but even those, like, they're spaced out. So when one's coming, you're more excited to go see it.
And the thing is, like, Marvel's connected, so like,
yeah,
it one big story.
Yeah, and it makes it appointment viewing. Like, you have to. I understand that complaint completely. People who say that, like, if I don't watch it, I'm lost. So many people didn't.
Well,
know
it's
it
funny
was
because I
going on.
remember when I was talking to Bill a month ago, and I was talking about Doctor Strange, and he was like, "Oh, he's like, oh, I want to see that. I like Sam Raimi," and he's like, "I like the first one." And he's like, "What do I need to see something to, be caught up?" And I was
Wanda.
like, "Did you watch WandaVision?" He goes, "No." I was like, "Oh, then you're not gonna." He's
Yeah.
like, "God damn it, I hate it when they." Then he goes like full text. "God damn it, I hate it when they do this. I just wish it was more like Matt Reeves' Batman, self-contained." Woo 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 woo.
Yeah, but I mean,
Bill Yosemite Sam Raimi.
I feel like if he did watch WandaVision, though, I think he'd like it.
Maybe, I don't know.
So like that's the thing, and a lot
is
of
he
people,
gonna get would he get the Ralph Boner thing?
Well, I mean, you could, Pete, if you want to nitpick and pick out little parts of everything you watch.
But I'm just saying, like, that's a big part of that show was the reveal of Ralph Boner. And did he watch X-Men Days of Future Past? Because like now that's Disney. Like that's it. But like, I'm not nitpicking. It's that's audience.
Yeah, I mean that whole character, that version of Quicksilver. Yes, if you
like,
didn't see that,
is he caught up on that stuff? I don't know. Right.
You're right.
He's usually like, a guy like him. He's a Batman only guy. So
yep,
I wouldn't be surprised if he never saw them. I still haven't seen New Mutants. Like, I'm as big of a comic book fan as anyone. I still haven't seen that.
Yeah,
I know it doesn't connect to anything, but I'm just saying, like, there's still stuff I haven't seen.
You can skip it. Trust me. We won't be upset if you never see that movie.
I gotta watch it at some point, though.
Even though Anya Taylor-Joy is in it,
I gotta see it at some point.
Still, Maisie Williams is in it too. From Game of Thrones.
It's nobody talks about that movie at all.
No, they talk more about the problems it had than about
would it have like a 5-year production schedule
and completely change the tone. Like the tone, it's kind of like Suicide Squad in that regard. The tone was completely changed.
Fantastic Four.
Yep, completely changed the tone.
I mean, I've seen that. I haven't seen New Mutants. I want to rewatch that Fantastic Four movie, man.
The latest one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. I bought it on Blu-ray because I wanted to support it, obviously, and I was like, the cast was like I was hopeful for a young cast. Like, okay, maybe the second one will be better. So I bought it. Like, I think when I bought it on Blu-ray, this was the last time I watched it. So it was all those years. I'm very curious.
Just be happy that we're getting a new one soon. That's all I'm happy about. We're getting a new Fantastic Four.
I do know that apparently, this is a rumor, but apparently the set piece where Doom is walking around that movie and he's flicking people's heads off, it was that was going to be shot for the Ben Affleck movie. Like, that was a set, that stage area, that set specifically. Oh. Like, apparently Affleck and like Deathstroke are going to fight there in that hallway. So
see, guys, getting little tidbits, inside news.
So I thought that was interesting.
Pete has sources.
I just talk to people.
All right. Well, that's all we have for you guys today. So we're going to close this one down. So, Peter, let them know where they can find you.
You could find me on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite platform, Vero, at Pete Illustrated. You can follow the podcast you're listening to right now on social media, Straight Outta Gotham, at straight_O_G on both Instagram and Twitter. We have a Facebook group and a Facebook fan page. Consider joining and following both. There's a lot of good discourse there. Everything that we discuss and more is posted on all our social media accounts, Facebook and Twitter. Follow the Italian Spider-Man Coalition. I co-host that with Nick and Nico Caruso. I love those guys, and I love doing that show. That's at Italians for Spidey on Twitter. At Team Yellow Oval as we celebrate the forthcoming of The Flash and the return of Michael Keaton's Oval to the big screen, as well as Keaton himself. So thank you, Mr. Zaslav, for not canceling that movie. And thank you, Ezra, for finally doing what was needed to be done. You can check out my comic book reviews on BatmanOnFilm.com. You can check out my toy reviews on Batman on Film YouTube. I've got interviews on Batman on Film YouTube. I'm all over Batman on Film. You can check me out monthly on the Batman Book Club with Ryan Lauer as I try to get Ryan to read I Am Batman, and as we do the monthly comic book wrap-up show, so that's good there. I'm all over the place. I'm on Twitter. I'm officially going to be an Expos fan for the rest of the season. They're just playing a much better brand of baseball at this point, so I'm rooting for the Expos. And Reno and his father will be very pleased to hear about that because I know they're big fans as well. Vlad Guerrero, Fernando Tatis Sr., not Jr., Orlando Cabrera, Jose Vidro, Rondell White, John Wetton, Larry Walker, all those guys, Ken Hill, the original Pedro Martinez. Like, they're just having a fantastic season up in Montreal. So I'm really happy, and I can't wait to see Yuppie. And that seems to be it. I'm trying to get Eric to, do something with Hasbulla. I want to get these two guys together to meet. They're obviously it's like, it would be like Hercules meeting Atlas. It's just like, I need to get these two guys together to discuss championships and kicking ass. So if anyone has any connections, I'd appreciate it, because it's just, I think the world needs it. I think Eric needs it. I don't think Eric's ever dealt with anyone on his level before. So I think this is finally a chance for him to really, like, oh, wow, hey, look, you're in my league. Like, finally I could talk to you about things. So I think
I'm always open for meeting new people. So sure, why not?
Yeah. I just, I would love to see, I just think it would be a powerhouse, two powerhouses colliding, if
Let's
really
do it. Yeah. Get
Hasbulla.
There you go. See, it'd be like the new power couple. All right, guys, you can find me on Twitter at Finally33, spell Finale33. Check out our Facebook group and our Facebook page. Lots of interesting stuff going on there as well. Check out my New York Knicks podcast if you guys are fans of the New York Knicks. You're all nicked up.
How's that point guard search going?
You can hit up on Twitter. Oh, we'll get to that in a minute. The Twitter handle is all_Nick_up. Where we talked recently, we just did a live stream where we talked about the Donovan Mitchell situation. We talked about the new the show that's been on HBO, on Showtime, called the New York Point Guards. It talks about all the New York City point guards who have been have come from this area. It's a very rich history of the position here in New York. So if you guys want to check that out on Showtime, give that a watch. And check it out. I have a Facebook group and page there as well for All Nicked Up. Same, All Nicked Up. So check that out over there. You can check out my content as well on Batman on Film. Interviews with Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romaine. Apparently Justin Kowalski saw Jerry O'Connell yesterday and mentioned that I interviewed him. So that was kind of cool.
And he remembered you. Which we got to get you back on the BOF circuit, Eric.
So I gotta. Oh, I'll do live stuff. I don't care. That's fine. I'll go out and do live stuff. But check out my Titans reviews when season 4 begins. I will be reviewing Titans again. So guys, check those out there as well. And I think that's all. I think that's all I have for you. So Pete, unless there's anything else.
Uxus, Galactus, Hasbulla. I think I covered everything.
All right. So for Peter Vera, I'm Eric Holzman. You are listening to Straight Outta Gotham, and we will see you next time.
Booyah!